How's everybody doing? Welcome back to Ask That Podcast on YouTube. Yeah, it's comic time, which means odds are good this is coming out on a Wednesday because, comics come out on Wednesdays. Used to be Fridays. Used to be Thursdays. Now it's Wednesdays. Of course, growing up, I didn't hit comic shops that often, so comics came out whenever they came out, and I just hoped I could get my ass to K&B Drugs or Food World before, that next issue of Adventure Comics Digest, where reprints of the old Legion and the Kirby era Sandman stuff was sold out. Oh, I loved Adventure Comics Digest. That got me into so much old DC stuff, but that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm just rambling. What we're talking about today is from NOW Comics. The Terminator. Yes, the Terminator that you know from them. Was there 5 movies now? 5 movies, a TV show, multiple comics, multiple novels, video games, action figures. Hell, there's probably Terminator dildos and condoms out there. This is from NOW Comics. This is $1.75 in October, whenever it came out. Oh, 98. Oh, sorry, 88. And this is a newsstand edition because it's got the barcode. And this is probably, besides Green Hornet, this is probably the best known of the NOW Comics stuff. The first issue of this was actually it had a good value for quite a while, because if I remember right, it was only distributed in the newsstands for some reason. That's what I've heard. I don't know how true that is. I was not reading this back then, because in 88, I would have been, 14-ish. And my comics budget was not real high. And I was not going to pay $1.75 for something I wasn't so sure about. And back then I was kind of an art snob, I'll be honest. I was kind of an art snob with comics. And the art on these was not to my taste back then. And these are now easy to find. I don't know if these have been reprinted. I know Dark Horse reprinted a lot of Terminator stuff. I don't know if they reprinted the NOW run. Another thing, throw in there about the Terminator NOW stuff is that Terminator Burning Earth or Terminator The Burning Earth, which was a miniseries, is the first professional artwork from a guy who back then went by Alexander Ross, who you'll know as Alex Ross now. If you're into comics, you know Alex Ross is. Matter of fact, if you're not even into comics, if you remember when now former President Barack Obama got elected, there was a poster went out. There was a drawing of him, and it just said "Hope" below it. That was created by Alex Ross. But here we go, issue 2, and this is from October, so it came out August. And at the time, this is what NOW was posted. They had Speed Racer, which was a full color Baxter Monthly, this is a good white paper. Issue 14, Astro Boy, which is a full color Baxter Monthly, is up to issue 13. The Real Ghostbusters, probably one of their other better known series. Speed Racer's kind of known, but Real Ghostbusters, I talked to quite a few people who Real Ghostbusters is kind of like the G.I. Joe Transformer comics from Marvel, where they got people who are not in the comics in the comics. And that was only up to issue 3. It's a full color Baxter. The Terminator, of course, full color Baxter. Racer X, which was that's Speed Racer's brother. Rex, as they told you every time he appeared, but that was more of a spy espionage style comic. And there was people that read it that never even read Speed Racer. I've only read a couple issues of Racer X. It's entertaining. And then Ralph Snart Adventures, Volume 3, Issue 2. Another full cover. And then the start of probably the only NOW series that I've read almost every issue of. I need to read the last few issues. And I'll be straight up honest, I do own a few, but for this, I have scans of every issue. Because it's not that they're expensive, they're just hard to come by. Most comic shops don't have them. And that would be Fright Night by Jim Gentile and Lennon Dolsol. The first 3 issues of this regular monthly series retell the story of the sequel, Fright Night 2, and then following it in new exciting adventures of Peter Vincent and Charlie Brewster. Hint! You will encounter a female vampirist and her 3 off-the-wall sidekicks. Really, really well done. If you enjoy the Fright Night, the 2 films, and yes, there's 2 more films in the series that are remakes, but the originals, track these down. They're really well done. If you're a horror fan and you want to branch out a little bit, try to find these Fright Night comics. I'm really surprised with all the other stuff that gets reprinted that these have not been reprinted. Oh, here we go. This is guest written by Tony Caputo, illustrated by Thomas Tinney, inked by John Bosman, letter by Kevin Holwasinski, I'm guessing. I've never been real good with Polish names. Cover by Tony Atkins and Jim Bosman. And these are all set as far as I know, I've not read every one of the series, but everyone is set in the future with John Connor leading the resistance against the Terminators and Skynet. And their coloring reminds me kind of the way Valiant comics look. That I can't really describe it, but the coloring looked different than Marvel or DC, especially at this time back then. And it was just a really cool little series. What I've read, this is another one where I have scans of the entire run. I have not read it all, but I have scans. I have read these issues I'm showing you now, because it's more than one. You can see there's a couple issues underneath there. And these were all obtained from my local comic shop, which is Heroes Haven in Brookhaven, Mississippi. I don't exactly know what street it's on, but if you're in the Brookhaven area and you're into collectible card games, Funko Pops, board games, like not Monopoly and stuff, other board games, what I call geek board games, and I don't mean geek as an insulting word, it's not to me, or comics, excuse me, comics, step in. They're comics. Now, you're not going to find a pile of trades. They usually don't have many. They have, the new comics, whether they order, but then they got a really huge, for a comic shop, back issue, it's all cheap stuff. It's dollar bins, and there's all kinds of stuff in there. I found a lot of really good stuff in there, but it's not a lot of DC and Marvel stuff. It's a lot of other companies' stuff. And I got a feeling sometimes I'm probably one of the few that goes there and gets this other stuff, but that's all the oddball stuff. Okay, here we go. In a world crowded with amateurish, low-quality comic books, one dares to be different. Unlike so many humor comics, this one's actually funny. Chuck Dixon, fairly well-known comic writer, did a lot of work on Nightwing and Punisher, and now he works a lot for indies. I read Ralph Snart last night. It changed my life. Roger Bang. No, it is. Witty, often nastily funny. Mark Shaneblum for Graffiti Magazine. Mark Hansen is very funny, both as an artist and a writer. Don Thompson from Comic Writer's Guide. R.I.P. Mr. Thompson. I'm pretty sure Mr. Thompson's dead. New comic book, A Campus Winner. Ralph Snart Adventures, originally planned for a 3-issue series, but with the takeoff so fast it will be published monthly. National Association of College Stores. Campus Market Report. Ralph Snart has the potential to be a true classic. It's already funnier and more well done than at least 95% of the competition. As it stands now, Ralph Snart is a kind of all too rare comic book that you can actually show to non-fan friends and know they'll enjoy. And that's the ultimate praise for any comic. Steve Monaco. And there's Mr. Snart. That says 86. Okay. But I've always wanted, and this, you gotta remember this, 88, this is pre-Terminator 2. And way before Terminator 4, which showed you the future, in form of the novels on this. This is, it's kind of like how Dark Horse did with their Alien and Predator comics. They added more to the universe, more to the mythology of those characters. Now did it before any other, see, Marvel's done Terminator, Dark Horse, and Now. And maybe some others. That's the ones I remember. And the art was not always the best, but it's still not bad. Speed Racer, that's, out of all the Now comics, that's probably the one that I read the most of back in the day, because I was a Speed Racer fan. The all-new Rust. Rust was in the first appearance of the Terminator in comics was in an issue of Rust. I've never read anything from Rust. It looks interesting. And I do love, one thing I love about Baxter Paper is it doesn't age. Like newsprint, even newsprint from like newsprint comics from 88 will be yellow somewhat by now. These are nice and white. And I always wonder, somebody knows these little, right there, is on a lot of comics about it. What is that? Why was that there? I've always wondered and I've never really, I need to ask. Next time I meet somebody that's involved in printing comics, I'm like, hey, what's, how do you describe the, what's the little box at the corner? It's always on the left page too. And then we get Racer X. He's the government's best kept secret. X. Racer X and all other characters in association with the animation are trademarked and copyrighted in 1988 by Color Systems Technology Incorporated and copyright 1988 Tatsunoko Publication. On sale now. And we know what's hot. Comic shop news. And then we got subscribed to Now. Gasp! He got one! Beat it, fools! I got my copy by subscription and I saved $6. That's 50 cents off the cover price. Don't be a reject. Subscribe to Now Comics now. You too can conquer your feeble-minded friends like I do. And at the time, they're offering subscriptions to Speed Racer, which I would have subscribed to. Racer X, would have subscribed to. Astro Boy, I don't know. I don't remember reading a lot of the Now version of Astro Boys. I have read the reprints of the manga from Dark Horse and enjoyed it. Rust, which I've always been interested in it. Terminator, fuck yeah. And I like how Terminator has an exclamation point then, so does the Real Ghostbusters. The Real Ghostbusters, which the issues I've read of that is pretty good. It's, you know, it feels in the spirit of the Ghostbusters. Fright Night, fuck yeah. And Ralph Snart. And back then they were asking $15 for 12 issues. That's not bad. And then, of course, the Speed Racer ad again. This is issue number 6. I like this cover. It's kind of, I don't know. Huh. Alright. It's 2031 and the battle continues. The Terminator. Still $1.75. This is written by Jack Herman, illustrated by Thomas Tenney, inked by John Bosman, letters by Kurt Hathaway, colored by Rich Powers, covered by Corey Wilkinson. Guest editorial by Mark Hansen. Now, yeah, they're publishing Racer X, Speed Racer, anything new. No. Rust. I like this fan boat. Going back to Miami. They say the Florida Everglades is like another planet, a place where people don't belong, a place of dank swamp water, mudded insects, the smell of wildlife, vegetation, and rot, now stretching all the way to the southernmost tip. But now there are new smells, burning fuel, flesh, sweat, and steel. We are meeting heavy resistance. We're digging in, but we can't hold out for long. I would love to see. I enjoyed the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV show. I wish I'd watched it when it was airing. I didn't catch it till years later. I wish, the way that second season ended, I wish we'd have gotten a third season in the future. I'd like to see more of this timeline. I need to see Terminator Salvation. That is the only one of the Terminator films I've not seen, and I catch shit for this all the time, but I'm kind of weird about the Terminator series. I love the first one. Really love that movie. It's one, I didn't get to see it when it came out. Don't know why. I saw a lot of science fiction and horror films when they came out back in the 80s, but it was my father's birthday, and we're trying to figure out what to get him. And besides taking him out to eat, me and Mom went to go rent him a movie, and we rented The Terminator because he liked Arnold Schwarzenegger. I watched that movie at least 3 times in the 3 days we had it rented. So, of course, when Terminator 2 comes out, fuck yeah, I'm going to go see it. And, well, I'm not a fan of the movie. I have issues with time travel movies that set rules and then ignore their own rules. And the way the rules are set in the Terminator franchise with the first 2 films is, if they completely prevented the future like they thought they did, John Connor should have faded out of existence. That's why I enjoyed the third one, because they explain why it didn't happen. And I know a lot of people don't like that third movie. I think it's better than 2. Have not seen Salvation. I've only seen Genesis once, and I enjoyed it, but I need to see it again. Yes, I know most people love Terminator 2. For a lot of people my generation, a little bit younger, that's the first R-rated movie they saw. I actually saw Terminator 2 twice in theaters. One saw it with my parents, and I went and saw it like a week later with my best friend, Russell the Love Muscle, Russell Dearman. If you're watching this, Russell, man, how you doing, brother? How you doing? Look at the original Astro Boy. On sale monthly from Now Comics. Astro Boy. I look, 2-page spread. I got a very Dreadnought from a G.I. Joe feel from that panel. Big! 225 pages of Speed Racer comics, only $3.75. That's right, no mistake. 225 pages of Speed Racer comics for only $3.75. This is Speed Racer Classics Volume 1, a square-bound reprint of the original Japanese black and white Speed Racer comics. Volume 1 includes The Return of Manlaga X3, The Deadly Desert Race, and another Racer X Speed Racer crossover story, and a whole lot more. Spiffy square binding makes for neat bookshelf storage. Fantastic wraparound Mitch O'Connell cover. Hey, who is this blonde girl? Yowza! Wait till you see the back cover. Handy coupon in case your favorite store is sold out. I've never read any of the Speed Racer manga. Or Mach Go-Go is known over there. Yeah, look at that. Terminator. And of course the Ralph Snart ad from the last issue. I love the Christmas of these pages too. I like Baxter paper. Back in the day as a kid and preteen, I hated it because it meant the comics cost more. Now I'm like, oh man, Baxter paper is the shit. I like it better than that fucking slick ass shit they use now. And then we got our letter page where we have, oh, Uncle fucking Elvis wrote in. I like this. Hey, Tony. Read Terminator 3. A brain. They also have actual brains. Do all these metal mothers have brains now, or was this single bucket faux bolts some kind of special circumstance? Uncle Elvis, Dawson Road, Dawson Springs, Kentucky. And of course, I answer him. I mentioned in the Captain Victory thing about T.M. Maple, the Mad Maple. Uncle Elvis was another well-known litter hat back in the day. I like this. Also, the Terminator issues 1, 2, and 3 have officially sold out. There will be absolutely no reprints, fans. That means you better get your copy soon. Your best bet is find these issues on your local newsstand, because unfortunately the comic shops never seem to order enough. And then, last chance before the price hike. Subscribe now. On the back cover, the real Ghostbusters. And as many Ghostbuster fans as there is, I'm surprised there's not more attention paid to that series. Okay, and that was issue, 6? This is issue 8, and this is the last one I have as far as I know. It's 2031, The Battle Continues. The Terminator, approved by the Comics Code Authority. So now it's getting approval. This came out in May of 88, I would guess. Probably 89 by now. 89. Okay, Slimer. Slimer got his own series. Well, yeah. Jack Harmon's the writer. Thomas Tenney is the penciler. Inked by Jim Bozeman. Lettered by Kurt Hathaway. Colored by Susan Duchenek. Cover by Norm Brayfogle. Is Norm dead? I think Norm Brayfogle is passed now. Sarah Slammers, of course, Sarah Connor. In the Belly of the Beast. I'm jamming out to the music playing in the background. Hopefully the microphone don't pick it up too much so I don't get a copyright strike. And you notice there's not that many ads in these Now comics. Astro Boy ad, of course, and it's all in-house stuff. I don't know if that meant they couldn't sell ads or they didn't want to. I don't know on that. I'm not really sure. Oh, the Ralph Snort app, but they switched the pages. Then Terminal Data. Or Data. Now, I do not like when they did this shit. This blue, it's hard for me to read it, but I'm also partially colorblind. That might be part of it. Let's see if there's any known letter hacks. Not that I can see. I need to find some of the comics where I wrote in, my letters got printed. Okay, let's on Perfect Computers, Reflections of Ron Fortinaire. He's just talking about computers and stuff. Which brings me to a movie called The Terminator. The film sets forth the marvelous science fiction premise that a supercomputer has somehow become aware of its own existence. It then decides to exterminate all human life from the face of the globe. Why? Because the computer Skynet, by name, sees humanity as imperfect and thereby unworthy to rule. The movie became a big hit. Lots of action and bizarre futuristic landscapes peppered with fascinating men and women, locked in an endless death struggle with the ultimate machine. The fans ate it up. At the same time, they routinely debated various aspects of the plot structure. One of the most often repeated criticisms to reach my ears was based on the machine's supposed infallibility. It went something like this. How could the humans possibly win the war against a perfect thinking machine? Impossible, right? Of course, if you believe the basic assumption that perfection is possible, of course, if you believe the basic assumption that perfection is possible, I do not. Skynet is not perfect. It was made by imperfect beings, humans. After once spending 2 years as a college philosophy major, I defy anyone to convince me that something imperfect can create something perfect. And then we get this speed racer. And one thing about this is they revealed his name. His name was Greg. That's what, in the American version, the G on his chest is for. But, alright, let's lay these out. Terminator, and Terminator. I hope y'all enjoyed that. And, if this catches your attention, go out there and try to track down these issues. They're, fairly good. And they're inexpensive. Maybe the first issue and the last issue of the original run might cost you a little bit. The ones by Alex Ross might run you a little bit, but there is trades, reprint those. I know Now put out a trade, and I think Dark Horse has. The rest of them shouldn't cost you, shouldn't cost you more than a little bit over cover price. So, go give it a shot instead of, spending that $4 on the issue of, let's just say, X-Men that you know you're gonna hate. And that's one thing I want to get into real quick. I see it online. I don't see it in comic shops when I talk to people in comic shops or talk to people in person, but online I see a lot of fans that they're gonna read Batman every month, even though they haven't enjoyed it in 2 years. Or X-Men. Why are you spending money on something you hate? I don't get that. It's like with TV shows, I hate watching. I'm a wrestling fan. I see a lot in the wrestling fan. These people, they detest Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, but they watch this shit every week. I have more free time than a lot of people. Some of y'all might know, some of y'all know, I am on disability. I've been on disability for about 10 years now. I'm not going to go into details. But so I have a lot of free time. Because almost every one of my friends works. So I have piles of free time. Either during the day, all my friends at work, there ain't nothing else for me to do. So I got plans for even with all that free time, I don't have time. I don't feel the need to take the time, extra free time I have to spend it reading or watching something I don't like. If I don't like something, I quit watching it. If I don't like, if I don't like a book or a comic, I quit reading it. It's that simple. Who knows? I don't understand, and I'll catch shit for this, but fuck it. It seems to be this hate watching, hate read, seems to be the generation after me, the generation one, the millennials, and I don't get it. Oh well, anyway, if you enjoyed this, boom, give me that thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, all the other stuff. Talk to everybody later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.